Hi there, it's Sandra from Savvy Teaching Tips, and I'm here today to talk about teaching informational writing. So writing down information when they're doing like a research project or something like that. Before I go on, please like and subscribe below and ring that bell if you want notifications for my upcoming videos. Informational letter writing. Well, in my TPT store, I have a ton of products that relate to animal research because a lot of us in first and second grade do an animal research project as part of their science lessons. And so the product that I have in my store is split into American and Canadian as well as North American animals. And so the students pick an animal and they do a research project. So this is how I would teach the writing part. So here's my checklist of what I would need while I'm doing my writing, my informational writing. So I need a heading, I need a diagram, and I need to label that diagram, and I need 2 to 3 sentences that are informational. So what I do in my research unit is that the note-taking paper has room for 3 facts. And those 3 facts, when you're starting with the grade 1s, they don't really need to be related. They could just be 3 facts about that animal they've chosen. Set up in my unit, each page relates to one type of fact. One is, life cycle. One is environment. One is what they eat, so that you can pick one of each page if you want, or they can pick 3 from one page. However. Anyway, let's get down to some writing. So this is what I would do. I would have, you can see through this page. Here, I'll flip another page. Here we go. So I have a blank notebook with a room for a picture at the top. This is for grade 1. With grade 2s and 3s, I might get them to start doing the writing right on the papers that I've got included in my unit. But they could write their draft in their writing book, but they need room for a diagram. So you may have to, they may need to write 2 pages if they're writing more. So let's start this off. Well, I'm going to write about salmon because salmon is an important animal to the indigenous people in the area that I live in, and salmon relates to my life. And my dad was a fisherman, and not by trade, but he loved to fish. My grandfather was a fisherman, and so he was always out in his boat around here where we live catching salmon. So let's write about the salmon. So when you're talking to the kids about drawing a diagram for their informational writing, you need to tell them, so we're drawing an animal, we're going to try and make it look lifelike. We're going to try our best because there's no cartoon animals here with big anime eyes and that kinds of thing, because this is an informational piece of writing. So we want to try to make it look normal and realistic, not cute. Some of the stages of the life cycle of salmon. And now I'm going to label my diagram because that will help me when I'm doing my writing about my facts. So I'm going to write adult. So I've got adult, fry, Alvin, eggs. I've got my 3 pieces, and then at the top I'm going to write salmon because that will help everybody who's reading my paper. According to my checklist, I need 2 to 3 sentences. I'm going to start with an informational sentence that tells everybody what I'm writing about. So an introduction, and it's going to be about salmon, and I'm going to say something. Salmon are, I could say, I'll give an opinion. Salmon are interesting. Salmon are important to indigenous people. Salmon are fish. I'm going to say salmon are interesting. Salmon are interesting. Now I'm going to introduce some facts that I've listed in my note-taking. The first one is that salmon are fish. They live in the ocean for most of their lives. They go back to the river they were born in to lay eggs. Then they need a concluding sentence, and this is where I ask them to give me their opinion. Tell me what you think about salmon. I think salmon are amazing. So I'm going to read this to you one more time. Salmon are interesting. Introductory sentence. Facts. Salmon are fish. They live in the ocean for most of their lives. They go back to the river they were born in to lay eggs. That was 3 facts. Now, a concluding sentence, which is an opinion. I think salmon are amazing. And there we go. All our writing is done. So you can leave it at this. If you were going to look at my product, you would then, you can make it into a little booklet. And when I do that with my class, they have to draw 3 pictures. And then they get to put it in the classroom library where everybody else can read it. And they love reading their work. It's absolutely one of the more motivating things I find is the kids love to read the other kids' works. And that's all for today. So thanks for stopping by, and don't forget to check out my Facebook and my Instagram at Savvy Teaching Tips.